This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin Hoffman.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. Today is Thursday, July the 25th, 2024, just 2 weeks away from the Iowa State Fair. We're so glad you could join us. Coming up later on in today's program, we'll talk with Iowa Ag Secretary Mike Naig about the increase in wetlands we're seeing across the state and what that means for conservation practices. But first, let's go ahead and take a look at the markets.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
Well, we're at the end of another trading day, and it is time to talk with Kaden Sweeney of agmarket.net. And Kaden, got to see those corn and soybean prices move to the upside. Tell us how things went today.
Yeah, we continue to see the trend we've seen this week continuing to grind higher, which is certainly a good sign, especially after yesterday's close in the bean market. Taking back what we lost yesterday and then some a little bit. So corn and beans both going to close close to the highs today, not quite there, but corn, new crop corn up about 3 cents and beans up 15 or so here heading into the close. So certainly continuing to build on the momentum that we've put on this week.
Now, I know we started the day a little bit to the downside, at least on the overnight markets. Of course, we know that's a lot of computer trading, not necessarily the human element into it. I mean, was there any news this morning that really got that thing turned around and got it moving higher?
Like you said, it's kind of been the trend this week is, we whatever happens in the overnight, it seems like about 8:30 comes on and there's, a bunch of buy orders lined up and we race off pretty quick and then, kind of spend the rest of the day session hammering it back down. But we did have export sales come out this morning, really pretty strong, especially compared to what we've been seeing. Had a nice new crop corn report today, for new crop sales. So that certainly helped things and continuing to, like I said, build on the momentum we've had this week. But yeah, the way this week's been, we've been pretty strong at the open, really all 4 days so far.
All right. Well, we'll ride that good news as long as we can. Now, I know the livestock market had has had a good week, for the most part. I mean, did that continue today, or did we see a little bit of a lower action, or what happened out there?
Yeah, cattle market's continuing to be stronger. Live cattle up about $2, and feeders is going to close up here about $1.50 today. So both of those continuing a strong run. Live cattle are, in my opinion, getting probably close to resistance. We're not quite there yet, but certainly a good, strong move here over the past week, whereas feeder cattle have just been flat sideways for months and months now. Seemed like I was just looking. August contracts have been between about 255 and 265 here since May. So we're just continuing to be violently sideways there, if you will. And the hog markets, we've had a really nice run here the last 5 to 10 days, reaching a bit of resistance now. So certainly slowed down a bit, but we're going to close basically even down maybe 20 cents or so on the hogs.
Now, on the cattle side, I know usually about this time of week we look for cash trade to develop. We saw a little bit earlier this week, which is usually not too normal, but did we see anything start to develop today, or is it going to be kind of a wait till Friday situation?
I think it's mostly wait till Friday, and I haven't seen anything, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it hasn't happened. I maybe saw a rumor of 190 trading in Texas or something, but a little bit out of my area expertise for sure. But, again, continuing to come off of last Friday's, cattle on feed report, that was fairly strong. Thought maybe we would see some, early excitement out of that and then some pullback, but we've managed to remain fairly strong, at least certainly on the live side. So we'll take it for sure.
All right, Kaden. Well, if folks want to look at some of their options and look at, protecting themselves the rest of the way through this growing season and even start thinking about 2025 with the way some of those prices do look, what's the best way for them to start thinking about that and get in contact with agmarket.net?
Yeah, just go to our website, agmarket.net. Certainly a good time to be locking in some new crop, on the cash side or on the board side. But we've had a pretty nice rally this week and certainly a good idea to be taking advantage of that, in my opinion. So, agmarket.net, and you can reach anyone from our team from there.
All right. Well, we thank you so much for the insight, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Yeah, sounds good, Dustin. I appreciate it.
That again was Kaden Sweeney of agmarket.net. Let's go ahead and take a look at the closing numbers on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network market screen.
September corn up 2 1/4 at 4.06 even. Soybeans up a nickel at 11.16 even. Soybean meal up $9 at 352.40 per ton. Soy oil down 21 cents at 45.81. Chicago wheat down 9 1/4 at 537 3/4. Kansas wheat down 6, 561 1/2. Minneapolis spring wheat down 7 cents at 603 3/4. Oats down 3 3/4 at 329 even. August live cattle up $2 at 188.90. August feeders up $1.50 at 258.62. Lean hogs unchanged at 93.77. Pork cutouts up 20 cents at 104.90, and Class 3 milk down 24 cents at 20.19.
And that's been our ag market recap. We're going to take a short break and hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association, and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, we're joined by Iowa Agriculture Secretary Mike Naig. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to AMPM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. Well, wetlands are one of the conservation practices we talk about when we look at ways to help improve soil and water quality. We also saw how they've been handling the flood situations in the northern tier counties, and we hear from Iowa Secretary Mike Naig about the increase in this conservation practice across fields in Iowa. We talked about some of these conservation practices and also talked about wetlands. And now, outside of all the stuff that's happened, I mean, how are things looking for those conservation practices, wetlands? Are we seeing still that continued growth that we're seeing in the adoption?
We are, and this is something we're very, very proud of, and it's not just us at the Iowa Department of Ag and Land Stewardship. It's working with, over 300 partners across the state, getting work done. We haven't confirmed this just yet, but I can, and I'll be happy to talk about it when we do in some specific numbers, but I'm confident that we will have set yet another year, record-setting year in terms of conservation adoption, and that would make 3 in a row. We also put out some numbers here recently about the record-setting pace that we're on in terms of wetland construction. And, historically, these are nitrate-reducing constructed wetlands, and we've got those, predominantly in the Loeb area, the north central part of the state of Iowa, though they can fit in some other places. But we had a history of building maybe 1 or 2 a year. We're getting close to building 30 a year at this point. We're on pace for that, and that's a great thing. These are major projects that have a 150-year lifespan. They treat thousands of acres. They're targeted. The wetland pool itself is in some usually poorer performing ground. It's leaving the best producing ground in production, taking the lowest producing out and putting it in wetlands, preserving your ability to farm those other acres. We're really excited about that. And again, if folks are interested, especially as you look in your fields and you're seeing some things, you're seeing some wet spots, you're seeing some places that you think, what's a better use for that corner of that field? May very well be that a wetland could be the solution there. And there's some significant assistance for that. So again, these are all things I would love for people to be thinking about this year as you're looking at fields, as you're getting in the combine. Think about what more you can do from a conservation standpoint to try to help remedy some of the things that we saw happen here. So that conversation is really easy to start. You get into your county conservation office and you go from there.
Now, normally when we think about wetlands, we think about the ponds or the sloughs or things like that. But when you're talking about like a corner of a field area, I mean, what does that kind of practice entail? What kind of things do they do in those situations?
Great question. Yes, this is more than just saying, hey, take a wet spot and just let it be wet. These are constructed. So what we do is we're oftentimes, what we'd like to do is have tile lines that feed into that wetland or intercept tile lines, or maybe even lay that over the top of a drainage ditch. And so you're really catching a significant amount of water that's coming out of the tile drained area. And you construct a wetland, put a berm up. The idea here is that you want to keep, you want to hold the water for just long enough that it denitrifies. And these are very effective. After the water passes through one of these constructed, designed, engineered wetlands, we've got about a 90% reduction in the amount of nitrate in that water. So again, you can see the value of these things. They're really efficient. They're expensive to build, but the fact that they do their job over 150 years, there's a significant payback. It's a good investment for us, and it helps us achieve those goals that we have to continue to be able to farm and be productive and use the tools that we need to use, but also understand that we need to do a better job of reducing nutrient loss. There's economic reasons to do that, and certainly environmental reasons to do that. We think wetlands in particular really hit that balancing correctly, because it's a small number of acres, maybe 2, 3, 4, that treat hundreds and thousands of acres. And so that's really the trade-off that we really like about these projects. Oh, by the way, we're partnering with Ducks Unlimited and others because these wetlands also have buffers around them. They're great habitat, great hunting opportunities for pheasants, for ducks, and pollinators and those types of things, habitat for them as well. These are really nice solutions to our water quality challenges and work that we need to be doing.
And that again was Iowa Agriculture Secretary Mike Naig. And that brings us to the end of today's program. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and on our YouTube channel. While you're there, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you're notified each time we put out some new content from the video products. Also, don't forget about our free market analysis sent right to your mobile device 3 times a day, mornings, middays, and closings, through the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network podcast channels on Amazon, Apple, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. Also, you can find the latest on the Pods of Potential podcast. That's on our website at iowaagnet.com as well. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Huffman. For Andy Peterson, Quentin Slater, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.